Waiting. All right. Shows I have excellent connection. Do I have video? There we have video. Okay. All right. Okay. So, Shalom, Odom Tech Torah, Keith Hayes. I have a mic here. So, see, mic. Ice Base 67. Shalom, man. 5x5. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that. Hopefully other people get on here. If not, guys, catch this one in the replay, because this is going to be pretty good, or at least I hope it is. Rather. Humble 33, Shalom. What's up? Hope y'all are good. I'm having a really good day so far. I was actually just talking to my mom about a cryptocurrency called XRP, and she said, it's interesting that what she saw in early 2000 in what they call the dot-com rally or the dot-com bubble, right? Uh, she thinks that they're doing pretty good, but I was just telling her, she recalls what companies and websites did, in the dot-com bubble at the inception of the internet and all of that, and talking about how we are quite literally on the precipice of something, just a quick fall off. Like what is a precipice? You think of like a cliff or an overhang, right? And underneath and everything down here, it's just a massive drop. So the precipice is just the tip right here. And when that falls, holy crap, we're in for something. I would submit to you that we're in for more than likely some form of black swan event is what I would say specifically. And the reason I say that is because uh, we've got Donald Trump and his administration actively working on crypto. The Congress is actively working on uh, laws and regulatory clarity in the realm of finance for utilization of cryptocurrency uh, on the national stage. And I would submit even further on the grand stage, on the international stage, right? Because the whole world was basically waiting on the U.S. And there's a company called Ripple Labs, and Ripple is it's a cryptocurrency company, but their native token is called XRP. How many of you know about XRP? Yeah. If you know anything about it, let me know in the comments, or if you know anything about XRP, put one in the chat there. I find it incredibly interesting because the more I dive into scripture, believe me, there's a parallel. And, this is seemingly going to be kind of all over the place. Bertron, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Am I talking about Bitcoin? I'm not talking about Bitcoin. I'm talking about cryptocurrency in generality. If there's any specifics, it would be XRP. Yeah, so as far as XRP is concerned, it was literally designed to essentially provide liquidity on demand for the bank system as a whole. Because essentially what national banks have to do, nations and banks across the board, they have to have what are called pre-funded accounts in order to send money from one location to another location. And for the money to flow, each bank has to have a certain amount of liquidity in the equivalent value for uh, for that value to flow. One moment, y'all. Hey, Mom. I am. For Norwegian, yeah. No kidding. I'll take it. Yeah. I've accepted it. Well, thank you. Thank you. Dope. I needed that. All right. Well, I'm doing a video right now. I'm actually live on YouTube. Um, it, did you know I have a YouTube channel? Okay, well now you do. It's called Tactically Tor. If you want to chime in, jump in on it. Okay. All right. Thank you. Love you too. Bye. Hey, feller.
Wait, are you on a video?
I am live right now. Say hi.
Hello. Wanted to ask you something.
You wanted to ask me something. What you want to ask
Yeah,
me?
like, when you go with the video, can you wait talking to me?
I print something for you.
Yeah, it mine it's for eyes. I need eyes for my letter. Louis it's before it was,
Okay.
but I need eyes.
All right. Well, I'm not going to do that right now, okay? I love you. Go play. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Live on the phone and on YouTube. Yeah, so I've had this YouTube channel for years, and I don't know, 7 years now. I guess my mom just never knew I had one. I don't know. Anyways, Free Manic, Mason Broomfield, shalom, guys. Tradesman, what's up, brother? So anyways, I apologize for that. Never have to apologize. And I realize that that's true, tradesman, but at the same time, you know, I'm here for you guys, and I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like I need to. Um, Everything's still 5x5. Yeah, yeah. Family takes precedence for sure. Um, I totally get that. But at the same time, I'm here for you guys, and I want this to be enjoyable for you. Airtron 2x25. What you talking about? Pick one. Is it the audio, video, what? Is it playing? Is it not playing? Oh, five. I'm so dumb. I'm not dumb. I'm incredibly smart. Oh, five times five equals 25. That's for sure. That checks out. I did the math in my head. It checks out. Anyways, so what I was talking about before was the idea of what XRP does for the world. It literally solves a real world problem. And that problem is so much of the world's liquidity in terms of tangible monetary asset is tied up in escrow accounts for the banking sector to be able to do what it does. and that's basically sending and receiving payments, but or rather, executing settlement of payments. But when you take a look at that, each transaction is also incredibly expensive, to where you could send $50 million and it'll cost you a couple $1,000 for the transaction to finally fully go through, whereas you could utilize XRP and allow XRP and the valuation of XRP to be the liquidity and transference of value, so that you could transfer it rather than from JP Morgan Chase to name any bank, then they go to the next bank and then the next bank until it finally gets to I don't know, Santander, right? Or any bank in the world. Each transaction, each time it jumps from bank to bank, there's a fee that is associated with each jump. And that's, thousands of dollars. And that happens hundreds or thousand times a day, every single day, in order to execute these payments and have settlement. But also, not only does that take a lot of money to execute settlement of those payments, but it's also what's the word? It's time consuming. It takes days for settlement, especially when you're talking cross-border payment, for a payment to go from here through 3 or 4 banks and then it finally gets to its end location. The transference of value it's ridiculous. It's expensive and it takes too much time. Where when you're looking at the transference of value utilizing XRP, it's quite literally nearly instantaneous, to where in the legacy banking system it takes days. Utilization of XRP in the banking sector for instantaneous settlement and liquidity on demand. You put, say I'm sending $100 billion from the US, transferring value to whatever company in China for $100 billion, right? Transference of value, I've got XRP here, so transference of value, $100 billion in, lose pennies, out, nearly instantaneous, and it comes out in the digital form of the Chinese yuan, right? So that is quite literally what is going to, it's what we're on the precipice of right now. This is literally just the tip of the iceberg. But never before have people in our situation had the opportunity to front run the banks in something. And very few people know what's going on. Very few people see. I've been studying this, and I wish I could narrate it better, but I've been studying this and diving into this for the last 5 years, and some even longer than myself. Quite a few individuals out there who caught XRP in 2017 and rode that rally up and made millions whenever it peaked out at $3.45 and then dropped down when the SEC sued Ripple Labs, claiming that XRP was a security. Well, 2 weeks ago, the SEC and Ripple Labs, so last year, Judge Torres came out, she was presiding over that case, came out and basically declared, yeah, retail investment sales of XRP are not a security. So now we have regulatory clarity. XRP is cleared hot. It's good to go, especially for retail investors such as yourself and myself, right? So XRP is not a security. Then the SEC filed an appeal, so Ripple Labs decided to file a cross appeal. Fast forward to this year, Congress, they're working on a market structure bill and an anti-CBDC act or something along those lines, somewhere in there. It's definitely a market structure bill, but they also passed the Genius Act, which established essentially regulatory clarity for utilization of cryptocurrency in the banking sector as a whole. On the heels of that, the SEC dropped their appeal and Ripple Labs dropped their cross appeal, and now that has essentially been finalized to where XRP is cleared hot. It's good to go. There is no and actually let me show you this so that hopefully you guys can see this. Let's transition over here. Yeah, all right, let's look at this. So in this purple bit right here, that's what we're looking at. I don't know if I can make that bigger for you guys or not. Let's see. Here we go. Boom. Hopefully you guys can see that better for what it is that we're looking at here. But this is a website called TradingView. It allows me to read the charts and draw pictures on what's going on and see and read all the data, live data for what's going on in the markets. This is specifically pertaining to XRP right here. So you see the price, it's up 10 cents, it's up 3.77% today. With that said, this is the latest updates, updated 3 hours ago. XRP adoption is rising with UN Capital Development Fund recognizing it for cross-border transfers. That's exactly what I was just talking about. Ripple also resolved its SEC dispute, confirming retail XRP sales are not securities. In the last 10 days, whales, so in trading, whales are institutions or individuals with massive amounts of money. So think $10, $50 million or more, right? Whales have sold about 470 million XRP, and at the current market evaluation at $2.96, their sales, that's a lot of money. So the dollar amount in 470 million XRP, that's in the billions there. So again, a lot of money. Well, XRP inflows to exchanges, particularly Binance. Binance is a cryptocurrency exchange, exceeded 100 million XRP per transfer. That is massive. So suffice to say, XRP is really starting to gain traction due to institutional investments and sales. So XRP is also experiencing increased interest from institutional investors after the resolution of the lawsuits involving the SEC and Ripple Labs, prompting companies to boost their strategic XRP reserves. This is massive. So think institutions such as BlackRock, Fidelity, Grayscale, all of these money managers and firms that are essentially chopping at the bit, waiting for the opportunity. And I believe it's coming because all they need is a market structure bill and we're off to the races, which again, Congress is working on right now. On the heels of the Genius Act passing, XRP started to do its thing, and it went, if we're looking here, let me actually, let me bring this back down for us so that we can see what's going on. Sorry, this is live and I'm not super versed with how to execute on OBS. Definitely figuring it out. All right, I think I'm getting there. Here we go. One more minute. Transition. Boom. All right. So now you're seeing what I'm seeing. And guys, for the chat, if you're in the chat, I'm sorry I'm not looking at comments just yet, not right now. But I really want this to be educational for you guys. There's even more events right here that, you know, and articles that I can read and show you guys exactly what it is that I'm talking about and why this is happening the way it's happening. But if I go back to the monthly time frame, let's reset this, bring this down. This is over, so let's say price point since 2015, and we see right here in February 2017 it was the last drop, and then, you know, March it just took off and started to climb all the way up in here, all the way up to, let's see, I know it's higher than that, $3.38. I thought it was 45, but anyways, it climbed all the way to $3 and approximately 40 cents before it started to take that nosedive, and that was April 2018. And then it started to climb up again in what was it? In 20. Yeah, it started to climb up in November 20. Anyways, during around that time frame, the SEC, well, I'm sorry, I'll go back, because in 2018 what happened was the SEC dropped their loss, or executed their lawsuit, or put the lawsuit out against Ripple Labs, and that caused this drop because it was pumping earlier than they wanted it to. And that was basically a fight in the system, because they were trying to find ways to essentially do what XRP was doing. So much so that even Bank of America, even way back here, was fully bought in, fully, you know, hook, line, and sinker. And they've said time and time and time again, up until this moment, that they had fully planned for optimization and utilization of XRP in all of their transactions across the board, which is massive, which puts the price range well above, you know, right here, that $7 market. It puts the price range well above that. But since, it's really interesting because since, let's see, January 21 up until now, these white bars here, that is basically a, what's it called, a trend channel, a trend line. So it's creating a flag here, and basically the highs are getting higher, the lows are getting higher as it fluctuates in along this timeline. The highs have gotten higher, the lows have gotten higher, and now we're all the way up here. Let's go, yep, it all the way up here, where now we're fluctuating at that $2.97 mark, which this in and of itself is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic from a price action standpoint. And we can see, take a look even on the day, what it's choosing to do. Oh, I should probably do this here. On the daily, yep, we had what's called, and all of this is volume. How many investors are buying or selling in the markets right now? So today, the market for XRP is actually up, or it bottomed at $2.86 yesterday and climbed up over 11 cents today, and actually really over 13 cents, which is really cool. So when we're looking at all of this in its totality, we're seeing real-time price action for what XRP is doing. Now, I want to show you this, and the reason being is because I've been seeing and hearing a lot of people talk about the wealth transfer. Let's just open up a new one. Read the Bible. There we go. Y'all like reading the Bible? I know I do. So I've already got it pulled up on my computer here. Again, not on my computer, I'm sorry. In my Bible that's on the desk in front of me. In Exodus, it's chapter 12. Yes, son. Hi.
One more question. Do you have to put me an M and an L when I are
Mario and Luigi?
Yeah.
Okay. You could just cut that out of paper.
Yeah, but it's hard.
Okay, well, you should get good at doing hard things. All right. Alrighty. Again, like I was saying before, there are individuals, and have been for, probably the last 4 or 5 years that I've been paying attention to this, where people have been actively talking about this idea of a wealth transfer. There are YouTube channels who have been prophesying about it. A lot of individuals talking about, how, the great wealth transfer is going to happen, and, people are being chosen to, use the wealth that they receive from the Father in this to perpetuate good, because the times that are coming ahead are incredibly difficult, if you will. Which kind of brings me to the point of the idea of, XRP in its execution of actually fulfilling its design purpose and creating liquidity on demand. What that does is, when the banks no longer need escrow accounts, all of that money that is tied up all around the world in escrow accounts is now free to move about the economy, to freely flow, which means banks are free to give loans. It sounds like a lot of good stuff here. The problem that I see with that is there's a high potential for, we're already dealing with inflation, but if we have a sudden inflow of currency that was not able to be touched before, what does that do to the price of everything? The purchasing power thus goes down, which means everybody, and this is, my subjective opinion, knowing what I know about economics, it's very basic college level stuff here. But with that said, if the purchasing power goes down due to a rise in the amount of currency that is now available throughout the world, we're talking about massive inflation. And I don't know if it's potentially, what's going to check the box in Revelation. I actually had it in Revelation before. I'll come back to Exodus chapter 12. But if we look in at the seals, come and see, and I looked and saw a black horse, and he who sat on it, holding a pair of scales in his hand, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four living creatures saying, a measure of wheat for a denarius, and 3 measures of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine. Okay, so let's see. What is a denarius? Ancient Roman silver coin, originally worth 10 asses, a unit equal to that of a silver denarius. An ancient Roman gold coin worth 25 silver denarii. So it could either be a silver coin or a gold coin. Oh no, a denarius. A denarii is silver. Okay. Am I seeing this weirdly? Because if it's a golden coin, and say that coin is half an ounce, well, gold for half an ounce is $1,700. That's a week's worth of a wage for most people, right? Now, if it's silver and it's a denarius, that's still massive inflation. A single ounce coin of silver is almost $40. So you're looking at $20 for a single loaf of bread, right? If that's the case. So I hope you're getting that point. Does this make sense to you guys? Buckets and Bibles, what's up, brother? Yeah, so I'm talking about crypto. What do you guys think so far? Because the biblical implications of what is actually potential to happen is it's quite astounding, because the opportunity for us to see in the book of Revelation, like I see right here, here we go. A measure of wheat for a denarius and 3 measures of barley for a denarius. Again, if that's just a silver coin and that rated value equated over to what we have in current valuation today, a single ounce of silver being just shy of $40, and then say a denarius is half an ounce, that's $20 for a loaf of bread. And that's quite astounding, especially when we normally buy organic bread or something along those lines. We try to eat as healthy as possible. But with that said, typically if there's an organic option, we're going to go for it. And organic bread is already sometimes, $8 a loaf. Like milk, a few years ago it was $3 for a gallon, and now it's almost $9 for a gallon. So take a look at what it is that we're really being affected by. This is the ability to live. That's what this is affecting. So if liquidity on demand is then executed on a worldwide stage like they're talking about, all of a sudden these banks that are holding escrow accounts, that money's gone. That money is now free. It's no longer held up in the banking system because they have a singular decentralized account that is holding all the world's liquidity that they need. So now everything else that is liquid is now free to flow. Loans are going out, the housing market's going to skyrocket, the car market's going to skyrocket. All of this taken into consideration in real world just because of this one thing right here. That's what's going to happen. And I think we're on the precipice of that. So when we take a look at the idea of a great reset, or what a lot of people, on YouTube are talking about, this idea of a great wealth transfer. I know Brandon Biggs has prophesied about it. There's Ken Clement, he prophesied about it. He had a prophecy about, I want to say, XRP back in 2007. I graduated high school in 2007. Think about how far back that was, and XRP wasn't even a thing until 2013. So all of this in consideration needs to be working in your mind. This has been a slow play for a very long time. So as we come into this end of the age, the valuation of currencies have naturally gone up. Hey, one moment. Oh, you stop. It's okay. No more. No more. Good boy. Good boy. All right. Sorry about that. So as currencies, the inflation of currency, or rather purchasing power, is dropping, so the price is going up. That's been on a slow play for years, where it's just been steadily climbing and climbing and climbing. People are excited about this idea of a great wealth transfer. Well, we all know, Scripture says, well, that there is no new thing under the sun. Let's find it. Ecclesiastes. This is good. What has been is what shall be. What has been done is what shall be done. And there is no new matter under the sun. So if we go back to, let's go back to Exodus chapter 12 here. Okay, so going back to Exodus chapter 12, where is it? Listen to this in verse 27. Jody, you ought to know where we're going with this. We're talking about, look, Passover. Then you shall say, it is Passover. It is the Pesach, slaughtering of Yahweh, who passed over the houses of children of Israel in Mitzrayim, when he smote the Mitzrites and delivered our households. And the people bowed their heads and did obeisance. It's respect, honor, right? And the children of Israel went away and did so, as Yahweh commanded Moses and Aaron, so they did. And it came to be at midnight that Yahweh struck all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on his throne, and the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of livestock. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, and he and all his servants and the Mitzrites, and there was a great cry in Mitzrayim. And I'm just trying to build a picture for context here, because the point is in what happens next. Okay? For there was not a house where there was not a dead one. Then he called for Moshe and Aaron by night and said, arise, go out from the midst of my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go serve Yahweh as you have said.
Take both your flocks and your herds as you have said, and go. Then you shall bless me too. And the Mitzrites were strong on the people to hasten to send them away out of the land, for they said, we are all dying. And the people took their dough before it was leavened. That's why we have unleavened bread, the feast of unleavened bread. Right? Having their kneading bowls bound up in their garments on their shoulders. And the children of Israel had done according to the word of Moshe, and they had asked from the Mitzrites objects of silver, objects of gold, and garments. And Yahweh gave the people favor in the eyes of Mitzrites, so that they gave them what they asked, and they plundered the Mitzrites. The Mitzrayim is the ancient Hebrew name, or the ancient name for Egypt, okay? So they're coming out of Mitzrayim. They're coming out of Egypt, okay? And I know you can't see it. You can't see my finger for what I'm pointing at. No. Good boy. Good boy. That's enough. I hear it. Good boy. Hey. All right. And Yahweh gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrites, so that they gave them what they asked, and they plundered the Mitzrites. And then after that, of course, they set out from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 men on foot besides the little ones. A mixed multitude went out from them, flocks and herds, and very much livestock. And they baked unleavened cakes of dough, which they had brought out of Mitzrayim, for it was unleavened, since they were driven out of Mitzrayim and had not been able to delay. They came out of Egypt with gold and silver and fine garments of linen and all these clothes and all of these riches, dude. That literally happened. What did we just read in Ecclesiastes? What has been done shall be done. There is no new thing under the sun. So if we're hearing this idea of a great reset, there is biblical precedence to it. However, we should probably take note as to when this is happening, and two, what are the circumstances surrounding it. One, we could potentially see this thing to happen sometime in and around Passover. And I'm not putting any dates on this. I'm just saying that that's in the Word. That's in Scripture. So if that's the precedent that the Father established for when He does a, not the Great Reset, a great wealth transfer, He transferred the wealth from the Mitzrites or Egypt to the nation of Israel. Okay? So if the Father's already set and established precedence in that, there is no new thing. He's going to do it again. It's potential that He'll do it around the same time frame too. So that's my subjective opinion. If we're looking for a great wealth transfer, it could potentially be in and around the time of Passover. And then further, the implications of this is, could this be a time frame when Messiah comes in the clouds with great power and glory, so that the riches are handed over from those who are coming out of bondage, coming out of the system that has been plaguing the world. And now this wealth is being handed over to these people to steward for a time. And meanwhile, while all of these things are going on, of course, I just did a teaching on the idea that whenever Yeshua returns, yeah, He comes in the sixth seal, but He remains in the clouds. And it's not until after the trumpet blows, the last trumpet, excuse me, it's not until the sixth trumpet that there is a resurrection of the saints. We all know well, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, it talks about the idea of this rapture, this catching up. Well, if that is a thing and that is established in Scripture, it doesn't happen before the tribulation because Matthew chapter 24 says it happens immediately after. Therefore, everything that is leading up to the catching up of the saints, or the resurrection of the saints, as well as, aka the two witnesses, because that is the precipice. That's when it's all like, okay, done. Right? That is the resurrection of the saints, where the two witnesses lay in the streets of Jerusalem for 3.5 days, and then all of a sudden Jesus is like, all right, come on up. Dead bodies rise off the ground in Jerusalem. Bodies rise up out of the graves all around the world, and then all of a sudden they're all transliterated into the clouds. And then those who are after them, those who are the saints living at the end of the age, are caught up as well. At which point, that's kind of the end game, where it's all done. There is no hope. There is no chance or opportunity for mercy after that, because Jesus was in the clouds, basically saying, "Look at what I can do. If you won't repent after this, I have nothing for you." Right? So before all of that, this is what's happening right here. Yahweh giving people favor, and then they are plundered. At which point, is it potential that we end up with the wealth? Yeah, and he can do that more ways than one. But I would submit to you that this is multi-layered, because when we take a look at Revelation chapter 13, I would submit to you that none of this can actually take place. None of what, is going to happen in Revelation in the seals or the trumpets can happen to its fullest extent. Sorry, so many distractions around me. To its fullest extent without this right here. And the beast I saw was like a leopard, and his feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his throne and great authority. And I saw one of his heads having been slain to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the earth marveled at the beast. And they worshipped the dragon who gave authority to the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast? Who was able to fight with him?" What's that? The beast? I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast coming out of the sea, having 7 heads, 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his head names of blasphemy. All the world right now, all the world is working on AI, working on a one world system. But that can't be executed on without a one world monetary system, where everybody is working and operating on the same level, the same playing field, right? That's what XRP was designed to do. So I've been asked before, so you're basically saying that you need to invest in the beast system. I mean, if you want to put it that way, sure, you can say that. But I assure you, there will come a day to where we have to give all of that up anyway. At which point, when Yeshua comes and he executes his judgment and the bowls of wrath that are poured out on the earth, because when Scripture says, "Oh, well, we're not appointed to wrath," that's exactly right. The wrath is not the tribulation. It's not the judgment
I'm sorry, it's not the wrath is not the tribulation, it's not the seals, it's not the trumpets. The wrath is the bowls of wrath of the Father, when the bowls of wrath are poured out on the earth. So I would submit we get to live through all of that. But if we're looking, and this is a 30,000 foot viewpoint of what is happening in the earth. If in Exodus chapter 12, it talks about the people being plundered and then they're drawn into the wilderness, it's potential that Yeshua could come in the clouds. This is, me pontificating, right? Yeshua comes in the clouds with great power and glory just after this great wealth transfer takes place. Great earthquake happens, and then all of a sudden, the whole world is drawn into turmoil. They're trying to figure it out. People, who have invested in this technology are now able to overcome the woes of essentially are able to overcome the woes of inflation. And then, I've always thought about the idea of Pangea, right? Great earthquake takes place, and you've got Europe, and you've got Australia, and Africa, and I'm kind of backwards here. But anyways, and you've got North America over here, and South America right there, and all of that. You've got all of these continents. But if you look at a map of Pangea, they all fit together. And it's very interesting, especially with a full map of Pangea. It's not a crescent moon, but it's kind of moon shaped. It's like, kind of like that. And, mountains will be brought down, valleys will be brought up, and all of the earth will feel this earthquake. And I would submit that it's potentially Pangea and everything coming back into, to fit together like a puzzle. I think it's very interesting. Nothing is outside of the realm of possibility when the Father is concerned. When we're taking all of this in context, I think that's a real possibility that could happen. So when I get on that mindset and I start diving into that idea, that perpetuates an idea that is actually thought about in Scripture, where the idea of a greater exodus, an exodus so large that the first exodus with Moses and Israel coming out of Egypt will no longer even be remembered, because this exodus will be so large. And then you have the implication of a great land navigation, to where the people in the wilderness are navigating the land. And of course, let's see, I can just press the arrow here. Revelation chapter 12 provides us this exact idea. A great sign was seen in the heaven, a woman clad with the sun, the moon, and the stars under her sun and the moon under her feet, and a crown of head of 12 stars, being pregnant, and she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. Another sign was seen in heaven, see a great fiery red dragon having 7 heads, 10 horns, and 7 crowns on his head. That's interesting. Having 7 heads, 10 horns, and his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads names of blasphemy. Same beast here. Same beast. You can't make it up, right? So another sign was seen in the heaven, and see a great fiery red dragon having 7 heads, 10 horns, 7 crowns on his heads, and his tail draws a third of the stars of the heaven and throws them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, to devour her child as soon as it was born.
And she bore a male child who was to shepherd all nations with a rod of iron. That's Yeshua. That's Jesus. In the millennial reign, Jesus comes in the clouds with great power and glory, or just before the millennial reign, that's what he does. And then whenever the millennial reign is kicked off and he's executed the wrath of the bowls of wrath on the earth, then we start this restoration of the earth process that literally takes a millennium, 1,000 years, and he rules and shepherds all nations with a rod of iron, as mentioned in prophecy. And her child was caught away with him, away to him, to his throne. The woman fled in the wilderness. The woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by Elohim to be nourished there 1,260 days. And there came to be fighting in the heavens, and Michael and his messengers fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his messengers fought, but they were not strong enough, nor was a place found for them in the heaven any longer. And the great dragon was thrown out, that serpent of old called the devil and Satan, who leads the world astray. He was thrown to the earth, and his messengers were thrown out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in the heaven, now have come the deliverance and the power and the reign of our Elohim and authority of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brethren, the accuser of our brothers, who accused them before our Elohim day and night, has been thrown down, and they overcame him because of the blood of the Lamb and because of the word of their witness, or their testimony, and they did not love their lives to death. Because of this rejoice, O heavens, you who dwell in them. Woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, knowing that he has little time. And when the dragon saw that he had been thrown to the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. So this is what we see right here. This is what's going to happen. The beast coming up out of the sea, having 7 heads, 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and his names, and on his heads names of blasphemy. So when we see this, when we see that in Revelation 13, that's when he's been thrown to the earth. So in the context of that time frame, when that timeline is happening, guess what's happening? People are moving about on the earth in the wilderness, where the saints are being protected. And out of his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river after the woman, to cause her to be swept away by the river. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the river which the dragon had spewed out of its mouth. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to fight with the remnant of her seed. Who is the remnant of her seed? Those guarding the commands of Elohim and possessing the witness of Yeshua Messiah. So you might say, okay, that's pretty profound. What is going on here? All right. No new comments. Cool. We've got 9 concurrent viewers. Dope. Anyways, I know this is hard to hold on to, but the implication of what is happening real world right now and the potential of the implications of what these things mean in, liquidity on demand services and grand inflation and the biblical eschatological timeline for what is actually shown in Scripture. It's all there.
I don't have it completely figured out, but I do think it would be wise of us to invest wisely, to do things, better put this way, talk to the Father, ask him what you should invest in, ask him to give you a dream or a vision. Come to me about it. First of all, if the Father gives you a dream or a vision, I want you to tell me because I would love to know. I've been asking him and I've not received anything, but I've also been tracking this by, I would submit, the instruction of the Father for 5 years now. The Father put me on this to dive into, to study, to understand. It's important. So if we're not doing that, we're probably wrong. All right. Let's get back to the chat here. I've got nothing new. Is this resonating with you guys? Anything here? Any questions? Y'all can feel free to argue with me. That's totally cool too. I'm into that. Great insights. Insights, yeah, but I'm questioning myself on all of this too. As I believe we naturally should. I think it's important. But when we're diving into this, I think there's biblical precedence to establish what it is that we're seeing. I just think it's incredibly interesting. Kermode Bear, what's up, brother? If the Father's guiding me, then it's good. Yeah, I agree. It is good. Hold up. Oh, almost on. Yeah, my wife just got home. So let's see. Hey. All right, there we go. Tracking, we all need to be training, prepping, being watchful in these times. Many of the enemy's henchmen afoot in the world. That's true. The audio is a bit weak. How? It's a microphone, my friend. I don't understand. I don't understand. No, seriously, I just did a video on basically the context of the rapture. Used to TJ's projection. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see, I can turn this up. How is that? Is that better for you? Kermode? You tell me. Because everybody else said it's 5x5. A bit. There. Now the mic is all the way up. I'm even almost in clipping territory on the audio mixer on OBS. Much better. Okay. All right. So I guess I'll work it that way. Keep the audio up on the mic and keep the volume where it's at on OBS. Because I really do not want to have inferior audio or anything like that. Hey, honey. Live. Live.
Oh, I left my charger, and so now
Your charger's right here on the floor.
yeah, I know, but I forgot the thing at work to take to the other office so I could work on it here. So I worked on it until my phone or my computer was at 5%.
You want to come say hi?
Sure, I was gonna ask you, can you see if you can rig up something that makes it desk? My computer can just sit on this plywood or something?
Easy. Just a soft-spoken guy. Proximity to the mic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I'm soft-spoken. I'm just really, honestly, I'm just trying to figure out the audio. So if I need to keep this mic up, then I will.
He's not soft spoken at all. You just haven't seen. It's really funny. I've had somebody tell me, I was trying to tell him that he was goofy, and they're like, he is? And I was like, yeah, you just haven't been around him enough, because he's incredibly goofy. Like, those who spend a lot of time with him know Heath is a goofball. Hello, Bertrand. We will see you soon.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, dude.
I love how it used to be Loomp, but now I'm just Raren.
Darren.
Raren. You have to remember too, you're not using a mic? Oh, you are using a mic, but the AC is super loud.
Yeah,
So-
but I have a filter in here that cuts out background noise.
Oh, well, okay then. You have 8 people here? Love you.
I mean, I had more than that earlier.
I gotta work on that video.
All right.
I already put on comfortable clothes.
Well, anyways, guys, one of the chillest dudes. I'm a chill brother. Yeah, it's
Get on your bed and quit laying on the rug.
going to be a good time. So we have
Lay down.
the wilderness responder coming up. We've been prepping for it for months, but as a matter of fact, I've got my rucksack right here. Let's see. How's that? It's so big. Yeah. Bertrand, make sure you have all of your kit squared away. Literally gathering up some of the last bit of loadout for the class. Good, man. I hope you have it all. Pay attention to the required items list. For a training ruck tonight, that's good. What did the weight come to without the extra med bag? Oh, on my bag, it's 50 something pounds. I mean, it's up there. And then between, this, the extra med bag, my gotta resituate my rope. Let's see. There we go. Between that and then my chest rig, which I've got to get squared away a little bit more than what it is already. I've got to get that squared away, and then my med bag's just in the truck. So I've pretty much got everything good, dialed in, and probably early next week, I'm going to take everything out of my rucksack, do a quick inventory. I know I pulled one of the Nalgene bottles out, as this is only 32 ounces of or a part of the 1.5 gallons of water that I have in the pack itself. Yeah, right here. Chest rig helps so much with distribution of weight. Yeah. Saw rig is a great rig, man.
I'm actually thinking of, so I need an admin pouch for my chest rig, and I'm thinking about getting one of Cody's Sojourn gear. His what did I say? Admin pouch. It's a dangler pouch that dangles between via hook and loop between the backer on the chest rig, and of course it can be utilized as a dangler on a plate carrier as well. James Atley, what's up, man? So your load will be in the realm of about 75 pounds total before the med bag. Is that correct, Bertrand? See, because the cool thing about this is it provides people who are prepared. It provides a certain stress test of your system, which, you know, it allows you to figure out what you really need, what you don't need, what's kind of a nice to have or a prefer to have kind of thing. Still want to get a set of the silencing kit loops. I don't know what that is, silencing kit loops. Anyways, how many of you would be interested in a rundown of my kit? Oh, the Velcro's nice but loud. I mean, it is what it is. It really just depends, you know, if what situation are you entering into that makes it, you know, hard for you to not be able to utilize Velcro, you know, because side by side it with you right now. Yeah, that's not this video, but I don't know, it could be. I've got a lot of really cool stuff here. First of all, I've got some, my chest rig, when we went to Georgia to train, I've got, you know, some of these dummy grenades here that we utilize to train with the police force in Georgia where we were. So I've got to get these taken back to the office, rebuild them, get them squared away, and all of that. But let's see. There we go. 4 live round magazines as my center, and each of these fully loaded out is a pound, right? So that's 4 pounds on my chest right there, just in 4 magazines. And then let's see. I've got right here in my hydration pouch an Nalgene canteen, which is another 32 ounces of water that I will have on my kit and on my person. So I will at least always have at minimum 32 ounces of water on my person. And then in between that, Gerber Strong Arm. Fantastic knife. You can tell it's been used. I actually use this exact specific knife, you know, to, like in the winter, whenever I'm making kindling for the fireplace over here to make fire and all that, I use this with call this my beating stick. So there's my baton, and I'll just put this on top of the wood and beat it. down through the wood and make like a piece of firewood that's about that big around and cut it into kindling blocks, you know, or chunks that I can utilize to effectively start a fire. So that's my knife there. I reprofiled it to, I want to say it's a 20-degree edge. And it's, you know, it's sharp. It's a great knife. And then I've got an open pouch here and an open pouch here. So these two pouches are open. And one of them I will put like some Cliff Bars and, you know, hydration packs and such inside it. And then the other one, I don't really have narrowed down. I've actually got my admin pouch, or this more of a miscellaneous pouch. Let's see. Got a cuff key. Really, snacks are a must. It's true, man. You gotta have snacks. And then just an outdoor edge knife sharpener, which does a good job. It does the job. Balaclava, however you say that. Balaclava. It's bala.
It's balaclava.
Yeah, balaclava.
But it's baklava. It's dessert.
A soft tea. That is a actual Committee on TCCC recommended Special Operation Forces tourniquet. Great tourniquet here. This is my choice tourniquet. And I also find in utilization of this tourniquet, you don't get the tourniquet bite. Like if you're having to self-apply, you don't get the tourniquet bite that you would in like a Gen 7 cat tourniquet. So the Gen 7 cat tourniquet is all the way, you know, the medical standard in and of itself. Well, between these two right here, these two tourniquets are fantastic. And if you're carrying anything other than those, at least as of right now, I know there's some good ones on the rise. But if you're not carrying either one of those two, I would submit you're wrong. And I've got a really good light that will only cycle through red until I tell it to go white, which in a tactical environment is really ideal. You want it to predominantly be red to where it's only going to illuminate white light when you actually want it to. Otherwise, you know, you could be in a world of hurt. So this is a fantastic piece of kit here, my headlamp. Of course, I've got for Right in the Rain. I've got 3 contractor pencils here. You know, a notebook, real basic, which that needs to be in this pocket here. I've also got a pen that works with my notebook and the Right in the Rain. A couple of glow sticks. Let's see. Oh, these are the red ones. And then I have the IR glow sticks in my tack box here. I've got a lot of these. Anyways, a microfiber cloth for cleaning, you know, the optics on my rifle. You know, if I have to clean a lens or, you know, wipe something down, yeah, I can do that with this. And then, of course, a triangular bandage, North American Rescue triangular bandage. So a lot of really good kit in here. Oh yeah, and this is my Exotac ferrocerium rod. So you can switch thing with this Gerber strong arm. Throws sparks very well. Very, very well. great piece of kit, all things considered. Fantastic. I love it. It's tremendous. Believe it. So yeah, I have all of that on my person, and oh wait, and then of course, to add to that, my Kaminga compass, and let's see, it is tritium. So you can see the tritium vials, and they're glowing. That's all tritium. There it is, right there. So that you can, you know, shoot an azimuth in the dark if you want to, I guess. But all the things. Yeah, you know, if you're putting a tool to rest, you know, sometimes it's a bittersweet moment because you're excited about what it is that's replacing that tool, but at the same time, you know, you've got a lot of really good time and effort and a lot of data points that you've learned, and you've put a lot of skill into, you know, a tool, you know, such as a knife. Naturally, I've had this Gerber strong arm for a long time, and I haven't been able to use it as much as I would like, but all things considered, it's a fantastic piece of kit. It's a necessary item, you know, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to, you know, start camping and doing all the things that I want to again. As a matter of fact, my boys have been asking me if I can take them camping. So once the weather starts cooling down, and I mean, naturally outside of Sukkot, I want to take them camping and enjoy, you know, a little bit of father-son time with them and all of that good stuff, which my 7-year-old is just, let's do it now. It's fantastic. It's 102 degrees outside. I don't think so. But yeah, that's my chest rig as it sits. Again, still trying to get this completely ironed out. I don't have it all the way there yet. However, it's definitely well on its way. Leave that down there. Need the compass, microfiber, balaclava. My dear.
Yeah. Do worship practice.
Okay. If you're gonna order it.
Sure, I can find something else to spend money on. Don't tempt me at the good time.
Okay. And then probably one of my favorite things about this chest rig here. Let me close up these ammo. Yep. So when we train, I'll use the Sharpie to
Simulate wounds.
no, it's predominantly to break up the students into like group 1, group 2. So I'll have them stick out their hand and I'll just mark on them 1 or 2. So
Thanks, Lone Star. So
what'd it
one of
say?
the coolest couples he knows.
Shoot, yeah. Shoot, yeah. I agree. My name's Heath, and I approve that message.
You know, Kermode said the only thing I didn't like how sharp the edge on the glass punch filed is slightly down, and now it doesn't cut my feet.
Oh, dude, I've totally thought about that, you know.
What are you talking about? Oh, for that
Right
one.
here, the glass breaker.
Mm-hmm. I've read
Because sometimes wearing it in this position on the chest rig, it gets me in here. You know, having to move and do this and that, right? Or if I'm manipulating a rifle and having to go to the off shoulder. Yeah, so I've thought about, because I've never used one of those pummels on a knife. Never. I know it's a tactical thing and all of that, but I don't foresee me needing to use that. So taking a grinder to that pommel would be probably a good idea. Just a few file. Oh yeah, just to take that tip edge off. Just to take that tip edge down. I get that for sure. And I've got some files. And then the other thing that I like about this is this pouch right here. It's got it on both sides. Get the strap out of the way. Come on, straps. And that is designed for a radio. So I can run my radio right here in the pouch, easily accessible. And of course I've got my my push to talk here. So it's easy access. Push it on down into the pocket there, get it nice and deep. And then I'll take the antenna and then run that up the MOLLE on the H harness. And voila.
Waylay, everybody.
Waylay, everybody. At which point then, connect that around here. Admin, tourniquet right there. Mag, and this will be some like licky chewy here. Just sustainment. And yeah, my radio, push to talk. So, and of course everything is easily accessible right here, out of the way, but I can easily get to it. I can easily access everything. And see where that knife is positioned? It's just right in there. So if I come across or do anything like that, I catch myself with that pummel. So very nice, very nice. How much? Too much. Bring a BFA. This is not that training, Bertrand. Yeah, the radio pouches are definitely my favorite. The students will not have live fire ammunition. We will be out in the wilderness. You know, naturally there's mountain lions and you know, coyotes, black bear, stuff like that in the area where we'll be. So us cadre and instructors will naturally have our firearms for that reason. You know, for protection of, you know, all of you students as far as that's concerned. But you know, the wilderness responder, it's going to be fantastic. But as far as you needing a BFA, no, you don't. Our chest rigs look very similar in setup and form. Run a ferro roll, one dangler as well. Yeah, and that's what I was saying, you know, because I'd like to have more on my person so that I can take stuff out of my rucksack, because once we get to where we're going and setting up camp and all of that, that's just a carry kit. Like that's what I want in the camp. And then once we get to camp, it's dropped. I don't need that anymore. I'll just have my medical bag and then my kit that's on me for the entirety of the training. So it's going to be really good. And of course, I've got my wilderness first aid book here that I've been going through and studying and all that. This one's actually new because my other one it was in my pack while we were training in Georgia, and there was a downpour. And the back of the truck, the tonneau cover was open, and everything in the bed of the truck got soaked, including my Bible, my notebook, my wilderness first aid book that we're going to be teaching out of for the ESCI course.
Get on your bed.
All of that, man. So, scouting in the woods too. What's up? How you doing? Hope y'all are good. Guys, if y'all haven't had an opportunity to do a refuge training, I would recommend it. We've got some coming up towards the end of the year. We've got an essential responder as well as a train the trainer, which there are prerequisites for the train the trainer. We're not just going to put our stamp of approval on anybody to go out and train our curriculum. Which means you have to prove that you know what you're doing. But all things considered, there's prerequisites for the train the trainer, but there is that course coming up as well. So if you guys, haven't been through one of our trainings, do it. It's an opportunity. One, it's almost a ministry for us. We really love it. We enjoy it. We get to love on people, but also be hard on you guys and hard on our students to get you guys to know and understand the reality and the severity of the situation, so that if you ever have to use something like this, your heart's not pounding out of your chest, and oftentimes a lot of our students come back, when they've been met with this scenario where they have to use life-saving components, and they're like, man, the training was more stressful than the actual situation itself. At which point we just say, good, that means we did our job, because that means you get acclimated to the scenario, you get acclimated to the stress that comes in a high stress environment and situation, which allows you to maintain your calm, collected mind and continue to breathe, so that you don't go from your peripheral vision being this to this, and you end up in tunnel vision and potentially hurting yourself or someone else in the process. So, doing well, brother. Going to listen to your newest Rapture video later. Definitely stuff I sit and ponder. Your old video were good too. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. It's been on my heart to put something like that out there. The next thing that I do like that, I may actually, Scouting in the Woods, for your information, I may actually end up doing that one again. If you have headphones, listen to it with headphones on your phone. For some reason, I had an issue with the audio on that one, where like the first 30, 33, 36 minutes or so, it's literally an hour and 25 minutes, but the first 36 minutes or so was very faint. You can overcome it and be able to hear it well with headphones. I know whenever I listen to the playback with my Bluetooth headphones in, I could hear everything very clearly. But some people try to listen to it in their car, or over the Bluetooth on their auto or anything like that. Or just even play it over the mic on their phone. It's very difficult to hear. So wear headphones if you really want to take it in. Need that for tears that hit the pages as well. Right in the Rain scriptures would be, dude, that'd be awesome. A Right in the Rain scriptures? Do either of you guys have a recommendation for a small pocket Bible? Normally use the KJV or New King James, but it's hard to find a usable one. Yeah, it's definitely not your phone. I had a technical issue while shooting that video and going through the editing process. I was able to boost the audio, but for some reason, whenever that video uploaded, it reverted the audio back on the first clip, which is the first, I want to say 36 minutes. But after that 36 minutes, the rest of the entirety of the video is very clear, very easy to hear. You can listen to it on your phone, listen to it in the truck, because I boosted the audio so much. But for some reason on that first clip, it didn't take the audio boost. So there's that. Pretty cool testimony of a Jewish rabbi and how trying to prove to his daughter she was wrong about her new findings that Yeshua had already come, and how he was floored when she was right. Don't you love that though? That stuff is so cool. And whenever you look at all the scriptural context pertaining to the reality of what Yeshua was and what it was when he came and all the things that he fulfilled, it's truly fantastic. I absolutely love it. You know, and to see their minds and their eyes just light up with pure sorrow but joy at the same time, it's astounding to say the least. Well, let's see, I don't even see my time on here. All right. Anyways, guys, I think that's it for today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Enjoy the End Times Bible studies. Not many people even try to make a video on it. Yeah, and when they do, it's out of context. They pick and pull scriptures to suit, you know, whatever regurgitated narrative that they want to hold on to. And, you know, I'm just not about that. I have to read the Bible for what it says, not for what I want it to say. But anyways, love you guys. For those of you who held on through the entirety of this, I appreciate you. Bless you, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Shalom.